Today we're going to be making chocolate chip cookies. We're going to be focusing on all the measuring techniques for each ingredient. Before we get started, we need to preheat the oven. Preheat the oven to 350 degrees, then hit start. We're going to be using the Ghirardelli chocolate chip cookie recipe. It calls for 2 1/4 cup flour, 1 teaspoon baking soda, half a teaspoon salt, 1 cup or 2 sticks unsalted butter, 3/4 cup sugar, 3/4 cup brown sugar packed down, 3 teaspoons vanilla extract, 2 eggs, and 2 cups chocolate chips. The first thing we're going to do is measure out all our ingredients. So the first ingredient we're going to measure is 2 1/4 cup all-purpose flour. When measuring flour or other powders, you must always spoon it into the container. You don't want to pack or tap your measuring cup, otherwise you will get too much flour and your recipe might turn out dry. You always fill the cup up so that it's overflowing the container, and then either use a straight up spatula or the back of a knife to level off the top. Since this recipe calls for 2 1/4 cup, I will use the 1 cup twice and then the 1/4 cup once, and add it to a separate bowl. Next we have 3/4 cup sugar. Because granulated sugar is not a powder, when you need to measure it, all you have to do is dip your measuring cup directly into the container and then level it off with the back of a knife. Because I do not have a 3/4 measuring cup, I will use the 1/2 measuring cup and the 1/4 measuring cup and dump it into a separate bowl. 3/4 cup brown sugar. When measuring brown sugar, you need to make sure you pack it in very well using the back of a spoon. Fill it until it's slightly overflowing and then level it off with the back of your knife. You will know you measured correctly if the brown sugar comes out in the shape of the container. Because I don't have a 3/4 measuring cup, I'm going to use the 1/2 and the 1/4 cup and put it into a separate bowl. As you can see here, after I dump out my brown sugar, it's the same shape as the container and looks like a little sandcastle. 1 cup butter. Butter can be measured by tablespoons on the wrapper. Each stick has 8 tablespoons or half a cup, so that means we need 2 sticks for this recipe. 2 eggs. When adding eggs to your recipe, you always want to make sure you put them in a separate container and not directly into your batter in case you have a bad egg. Half a teaspoon salt. Salt can be measured the same way granulated sugar is. I'm going to dump it into the measuring spoon until it's slightly overflowing and then level it off with the back of a knife. I measured over a separate container in case some spills. 1 teaspoon baking soda. When measuring baking soda, we can dip our measuring spoon into the container and actually level it off using the top of the box or the back of a knife. 3 teaspoons vanilla. When measuring vanilla, you want to make sure you measure it over a separate custard cup in case you spill a little, and then add it to a separate custard cup. I will be using the 1 teaspoon 3 times to get 3 teaspoons. 2 cups chocolate chips. Since chocolate chips cannot be leveled flat like flour or sugar, we just have to eyeball it. We will be using the 1 cup measuring cup twice. Now we're going to combine our dry ingredients into a separate bowl and put aside. Here I'm combining the salt and the baking soda in with the flour and mixing well. Now we are going to beat our softened butter with our sugar and our brown sugar. We will beat this on high until it's well combined. This takes a couple minutes. Once it's fully combined, we will add in our eggs and our vanilla. And again, we will beat it until it's completely combined. Now we will slowly add in the dry ingredients. As you can see, I'm slowly spooning it in so it doesn't puff out of the mixer all at once. Finally, we will add in the chocolate chips. When adding these in, you want to do it slowly. You don't want to mix it on high speed because then we'll end up with chocolate dough rather than chocolate chips in our dough. Once the chocolate chips are fully mixed into the dough, you can use a rubber scraper to wipe off all the dough and prepare the batter to get put on the cookie sheets. Using a medium cookie scoop, scoop out and separate 12 cookies on a cookie sheet. I make 3 rows of 4. I prefer to use a cookie scoop because it makes sure that your cookies are all the same size and evenly baked, and it will have less chance of burning. Next, we're going to bake the cookies. We're going to put them in the oven for 9 to 11 minutes, starting with 9 minutes and then checking them as we go. Once they are done, we can pull them out and let them cool on the cookie sheet for at least 2 minutes before you transfer them to a cooling rack. Once they are fully cooled, you can move them onto a cooling rack. Let them sit here until they're fully cooled. We put them on a cooling rack to help let the air circulate underneath and on top. If we continually let them cool on the cookie sheet, the bottoms could burn. And there you have it, an entire batch of warm, ooey gooey chocolate chip cookies. Here you can see how temperature, butter, and sugar can affect your chocolate chip cookies. Depending on the amount that you add, you can definitely have very different results in your chocolate chip cookies. Check out the chart.